Now everyone should be able to see my first slide. First, a couple of words. My name is Katharina Ebner, and I'm talking from my home office in Nuremberg in southern Germany to you. I hope to find in you a couple of guys who really like to talk about coaching because I love it. I'm both a practitioner, have a couple of further qualifications for doing coaching, but I'm also a researcher in coaching psychology, and I love it. And I'm going to be like the opening act for Jonathan's presentation. I think Jonathan is someone like you too, and I'm the foreband, I'm the opening act. Okay, so I kind of lay a foundation and just welcome you in the very recent coaching research. And my very recent research on coaching is on digital coaching. And as you can see, I put here a small icon on my first slide. I'd like to introduce you to a coaching chatbot that I'm currently inventing. His or her name is Niti. We don't know if he or she is a man or a woman, but on the way to a good Niti coaching chatbot, I'm doing research on digital career coaching. And as expected, I'm going to start the presentation with a very quick introduction about what is career coaching and why I believe that it is a life-improving intervention. So as a practitioner, I'm offering services for clients who are about to commit themselves to a new career path, for example. And I'm doing that as a coach in a very gentle way. I'm trying to ask smart questions, and I'm doing that in a strictly time-limited frame, right? So this is coaching, actually. And clients are coming every time they think they have problems or concerns or worries with their career management. And I bet 75% of you who showed up would take on the services of a career coach if it wasn't that expensive. So I see that there is a need to do something on digital interventions because working, living a calling, managing one's career is so important. So career coaching is an intervention which is so very much corresponding to the zeitgeist, where we try to have a happy life in the end, right? And a good career. But we have a major problem when we work with clients during career coaching. They're not really super relaxed, but they are concerned. Why are they concerned or even stressed? We know from the literature that every change in our life is stressful. So any change in our work environment, like changing the employer or changing the career, or thinking about the fit to a career, is pretty stressful. We also know from the literature that it is as stressful as it is being, well, opening up to physical and mental ill-being, like, for example, the fear of getting unemployed, something like that. So when clients show up, they are coming with a concern, a problem to talk about, and most of the time it's like a planned or anticipated transition in their career. So as a coach, I start on reflecting on the career goals and on the fit to personal values and motives, etc. But as you can see below the dashed lines, what I experience as a practitioner is that clients are concerned, sometimes even worried about their future. And this is not what I want people to be. I want to see happy people who are satisfied with their careers, right? Because YOLO, you only live once. So your career should be a nice one. So with regard to research, I see that two dependent variables will be more and more important to consider, and this is security and optimism. So in my study, I'm going to take the journey with you together on the question of if clients can be helped being more optimistic and less insecure. You know from the literature, and there are a lot of meta-analyses out there on face-to-face coaching, that coaching is really effective in helping people being less stressed and well, be more happy, but we have a huge problem. Coaching is way too expensive, right? I did a little research on the cost, and from the German coaching market, I learned that only 60 minutes will cost a client 177 euro. And if you want to see and speak with a coach, it will cost you approximately like $1,000. So that's too expensive. What I can also observe in the market is that coaching, probably due to the corona pandemic, are beginning to think about offering their services as a e-coaching format. So they are using video platforms in emails, etc., etc. That's promising. Well, why is it promising? Because if we think through what happens in the market, then, to be honest, we will come to the conclusion that probably a coach is not always that important, right? Maybe it's worth a try to go the way to digital and coach-free interventions. Probably they work. We don't know yet, and that's the reason why I designed an online career intervention, which was open to everyone who was interested in this intervention. The intervention took place last summer. I collected data on it. The intervention itself was designed thoroughly on two practical and theoretical fundamentals. One is solution-focused brief therapy. The other source of knowledge was poured into the online intervention, where is research on coaching exercises like scaling questions and questions on goal setting. So if you were participants in this career coaching interventions, you would be confronted with the following very effective questions. Like, for example, why do you think that you need coaching right now? And you would write it down. Then there would have been a couple of questions on, did you try to solve your problems to going one step further in your career? And why didn't this solution happen to last? Then you would have the opportunity to reflect on your goal and to specify it, to think about when your expectations would even be exceeded. Further, you would have been answering questions about the benefits of not solving the problems and not deciding on your career yet. And also, you would have the opportunity to answer a very effective, very nice question, which is called the miracle question. The miracle question reads like, suppose a miracle happens tonight. You wake up in the morning. Your problem has disappeared. How would you feel? So this was actually what happened during the career coaching interventions. So in this exploratory approach, I was asking myself the very easy question, is the intervention effective in helping clients gaining more optimism regarding their careers, and do they lose insecurities? And also I'd like to compare it with a very traditional face-to-face coaching, right? Okay, how did I do that? A couple of numbers and now coming. I had adverted more than 200 participants to my online career coaching interventions, comprising both of students and employers. And in order to get the data, I applied a two-time measurement study design. And in order to answer the question if this intervention can compete with a traditional face-to-face coaching, I put together data of two studies. First, I draw a subsample of this career coaching intervention sample comprising of students only, and I matched it with data from a previous study on face-to-face coaching with a comparable study design. And interestingly, both of these interventions took place in a more or less laboratory environment. So I had this coaching, this face-to-face coaching, being conducted by coaches who worked with like a manual. So we had again the same structure throughout the coaching session and a more or less standardized approach. What did we measure? Of course, we measured occupational optimism. You can read through the item example and probably get an impression about how optimistic you are. I get excited when I think about the career. And of course, I measured career insecurity and example item reads, I am unsure that I will achieve my career. So in order to get more information about what happened during the interventions, I let participants also evaluate what they experienced by asking them how satisfied they were and what they learned during coaching by applying a questionnaire for training evaluation. So I'm now going to present you a bunch of numbers, and I'm trying to go through that quite quickly and also interpreting it like in practical terms. I did some linear regression analysis in order to predict occupational optimism over time. In the first step, I inserted occupational optimism at T1 to just control for its stability over time. Then I put in the employment status. Employment status was coded as 1 if you were employed, so I can learn that being employed helps to develop more occupational optimism compared to students. Then I asked participants a scaling question, once during the intervention, once after the intervention, asking them how far are you away from your career solution, and this clearly makes a difference. So this is being indicated that an intervention can rely on scaling questions because make a difference. And in model 4, this is the most interesting part of this slide. I can learn, here you see the knowledge about career planning has a negative regression coefficient, meaning it is not predicting an increase in occupational optimism, but explaining a decrease, something that we don't want. But it means if you're like exploring in-depth possibilities to approach your career, it lowers optimism. It's not helpful. But on the other side, if you just read the line below application to career planning, I can learn from the data that when clients start after the coaching intervention to try to apply what they have learned during the totally coach-free online career intervention and transfer it on their daily lives, then it makes a difference for their occupational optimism. And the next slide is on career insecurity. The same pattern emerges. We're just widening options, which is very typical in solution-focused brief therapy or systemic coaching. It's not helpful. We have a positive regression coefficient, but it's about career insecurity. So higher values are indicated for more insecurity. So just widening options is not helpful. If you succeed, that clients evaluate their career as being okay. So learning that they can be satisfied with what they have achieved until this time and point, it lowers insecurity, which is promising. The next 2 slides are on the comparison. So in this regression analysis, I merged the 2 data sets from both the online career intervention and my face-to-face coaching intervention. I did the same, so I go through that very, very quickly and just say at model 4, what we can learn here is it makes a difference if clients evaluate no matter what intervention as useful for their career, but most important here is that the type of career coaching was inserted as a predictor. The type of career coaching, either online coaching without a coach or the face-to-face coaching, which was similarly structured, type of coaching was coded as 0 if you were in the face-to-face coaching condition and 1 if you were in the online coaching intervention. So we can see a negative regression coefficient. So an increase or decrease of career optimism is definitely significantly influenced by group in which you were. In this these results tell us that face-to-face coaching is more effective. And if I have a look on my career insecurity regression analysis, the exactly same pattern emerges. So let wrap me this up in a slide on the results. The first question was if it's worth the effort to design a online career coaching intervention with regard to optimism and insecurity. We can learn that it has a positive impact if clients succeed in regarding their career as okay or even satisfactory. And it's important to encourage clients by exercises, for example, or other kind of instructions to really apply what they did in the intervention on their daily lives. But there's a negative effect on just digging into the possibilities and exploring options, just give clients the impression that they may have missed something in their career design. So I would not recommend to do that in a very first coaching conversation, according to the numbers I presented. And regarding the second question, is the online intervention more effective or can it compete with face-to-face coaching? The answer on these data must be no, it cannot. But let me conclude with some further thoughts. What I presented you are numbers on a single career coaching intervention, both face-to-face and online. Typically, coaching doesn't end after 90 minutes, but there are a variety of sessions, so change happens over time. So this is the first coaching session. Second, the analyses are not impressive since I did not consider what happened during the career coaching intervention. So we did not pour into our regression analysis the number of answers that were given or the meaningfulness of answers. So this could change the whole picture. But I already learned something practically. When I'm designing career coaching interventions, either online or with a chatbot or as face-to-face coaching, I should rely more on evidence-based from psychotherapy because we know a lot about change and how to accompany people towards a more happy life and more well-being. One of the models is from Howard. He says, if a client is entering psychotherapy, we first have to work on an optimistic attitude that something good will happen, right? That he can lose the symptoms and be more happy or have a less ill being. And in my career coaching intervention, I put in a lot of systemic questions which are exploring and widening that might have been too overwhelming. Probably my clients just lost the belief of being capable to have a good career. So in the future, I will do that differently. And the future is pretty promising because I introduced our chatbot Niti to you, which is my very present study I'm busy with. I know from the psychotherapy literature that chatbots are really effective. They can help a lot, even if there is not a psychotherapist you're talking with. So it should also work during coaching. I hope so. I don't know yet, but probably if we meet next time, I will bring Niti and you can just start a conversation with him or her. And probably it helps you in designing your career. Well, if you have any comments or ideas to collaborate on Niti or any other kind of positive psychology interventions, then I'd be really happy to receive a short note of you. But for today, I'm done.